I could never do that. That's just not me. I'm not that type of person. Maybe you can do that, but I'm not built that way. I'm not made for that sort of thing. That would never work for me. If you say so, then so shall it be. What's going on, guys? My name is Noah, and I am a low self-esteem survivor. I would put myself in a box, pigeonhole myself, and kept myself away from and apart from so many powerful things that led to so much happiness, fulfillment, and progress in my life in so many facets. It's absurd. I would say things all the time when people would propose things or suggest things or demonstrate something that I wanted but didn't know how to get. They would tell me how they got it, whether it be financially, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, via addiction, could be mental health struggles because I have a huge history of depression and anxiety. They would say things that worked for them, and then I would say things like, oh, I'm glad that worked for you, but that could never work for me because blah, 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 blah. Dangerous language that instantaneously cut me off from solution. And the interesting thing about having language like that or thinking that way is that oftentimes it's people that are struggling, like I was. They ask for help, they get some possible solutions, and then they cut them off immediately because that's just not who they are. Like they make decisions like I used to make, like, nope, that won't work for me. Based on often fear, false evidence appearing real. I'm a huge cliche acronym guy, and that one really rings true to me. Fear. Wanting to do something different, not falling into the action to make that difference, not knowing why, so just deciding that's who you are. The placebo effect is crazy powerful. What we think matters. What we decide about ourselves matters, whether or not we are right or wrong. If we have conviction about a certain aspect of us, it will be true, even if it's completely false, and even if that conviction is going to 100% keep you and distance you from something powerful and magical, if you're willing to use that sort of language. For me, it has required tremendous suffering to get me willing to do something other than what I prescribe to be right. Like, my damaged brain cannot fix my broken mind. Yours can't either, by the way. And it's not to say we don't have good intuition, but most people don't seek out the things they're good at. Most people don't have internal struggle and turmoil over aspects of life, living, health, wellness, or whatever that they already have figured out per se, or at least have an idea about. Most people reach out for help when they are struggling. So it's astounding to me that for so long I've struggled with so many different things: alcoholism, financial security, being organized, depression issues, and only taking bits and pieces of advice, bits and pieces that fit the way I am, because I made decisions about myself. It only took tremendous suffering for me to start being like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I could be the type of person, for example, who wakes up in the morning and makes his bed. You say that helps? Maybe I'll do it. Or for weight loss goals, maybe I can be someone who could track his food. Like, I can't tell you guys how many times people have come to me asking for some suggestion. And that's a beautiful thing. We all need to help each other in areas that we excel or have some success in, and just be kind, respectful, humble, and offer a little bit of guidance when we can. Recently, I had someone come to me who was struggling with their weight. I have had a very good growth in the department of health, wellness, diet, nutrition, balance, or whatever. Fancy way of saying I look good naked. A lot of people that know me noticed, and they wanted to ask me what I'm doing. I feel really good in here and in here, by the way. Much more important. Directly related. So I had this guy come to me and express he's struggling with his weight, struggling with his self-esteem or whatever. And so I was like, I'm glad you came to me. Maybe I can offer you some solution or something that might work for you. And he said, what have you been doing? Proof's in the pudding. You're looking pretty good. You seem really vibrant and healthy. What are you doing? And so I told him. I was like, oh, well, there's a handful of things that have worked really well for me. Being that all this can be very complex, the core principles are simple. So I was like, something that's worked well for me is intermittent fasting. an eating protocol where I shortened my eating window to 8 hours and I fast for 16 hours, blah, blah, blah. Started explaining some of the benefits of that. And the first thing he said back to me before I even had a chance to kind of just dive into some of the ways that's benefited me and how it's worked with my lifestyle. He said, oh, wait. Yeah, that would never work for me. If I don't eat every couple hours, I feel really bad. I was like, oh, it's too bad to hear. Have you, and I asked him, like, have you already experienced some fasting and given the whole lifestyle and the whole structure a try? He goes, no, but I just know that about myself. I'm like, I'm like, okay, there you go. He's already decided that won't work for him. He might be right, but he might be wrong. I would lobby that he's wrong. But he made that decision, and so a powerful tool has been removed from him. And that's just an example. And it went on with that same person. I've had other people ask me what I'm doing, and something that works really well for me, something that has now become a habit for me, is to track my food. Track my food so I can better understand what I'm taking in, how it's impacting me in a number of ways. My sleep, my energy, my weight, my performance, whatever, all the stuff. I just find it very fascinating. It works for my personality. Not for everyone, granted, but very powerful tool for me. Part of my lifestyle. And so I had someone who's really struggling, right? They're really struggling. And the moment I brought that up, they said, oh, I can never do that. Oh, it's just too stressful. I just don't have the time. They started making excuses. But the point is, they already decided that they wouldn't do that. That's not something they would do because that's not who they are. Powerful tool. Gone in thin air. They're not even willing to consider that could work for them or change their lives dramatically. And see, this has happened to me a million times. So it's not like me telling you, oh, like I've got it figured out and I'm just so humble and willing. No, I've been beaten by life into submission to be like, I don't know what's best for me. I'll do whatever you suggest and figure out very earnestly if it works for me or doesn't work for me based on a true attempt, not off this perceived personality trait in me that keeps me from being willing to try something new with all my heart to get what I've never gotten based on what my own way is not working. You understand? So the way that applied in like mental health was like, man, this counselor who was working with me for so long, he wanted me to do a vision statement depicting what my life would look like if I looked and felt well. Written in like the now. So I would write it, for example, like I wake up with energy. I greet the day with enthusiasm because I'm well rested. I have hope in my heart. Stuff like that. Paragraph or two. I was like deeply, deeply depressed. Completely out of options. Horribly suicidal. I mean, I couldn't have been more a mess. Comforting myself with fast food every single night. I can't possibly paint a picture of misery clear enough to represent the pain I was in. And this guy gave me a tangible exercise that was proven to help because he wanted me to write this vision of my wellness and read it every day. It took me a year to do it. A year! Like I was hurting so bad. I was willing to do anything until I had to do anything, right? Until I had to do something. It takes what it takes. And the take-home message from this is that you could be one passive opinion on yourself away from being removed from something that could change your life forever. I want that to sink in because it's no bullshit. No bullshit. What are some convictions about yourself that you are, for whatever reason, much like I was, and I'm sure still am in a lot of ways because I continue to learn about how this crazy head works, but what convictions do you have about yourself that are hurting you? Do you even know? Do you even know? Because you can borrow someone else's misery. That's something I've learned recently. You don't have to be extremely miserable to be ready to change. And the change can be small and yield big results, right? You don't have to be in pain, agony, and misery to do something. You can prevent the pain, agony, and misery. You can borrow someone else's experience, perhaps my own, I don't know, and completely transform. And I've got a trick for you that's proven. So we're going to test this theory of, is this something you know about yourself, right? Do you have an idea of something you wouldn't do because that's just not who you are? We're going to test that right now. Right now. Something I needed to do was attack the root cause the root problem, one of the root problems, and that was the way my brain cycled thoughts. Neural pathways that I had set in my brain about how I think. Very pessimistic. I have a proclivity to worry and be anxious, and my self-esteem was in the toilet. So someone told me, much like I'm going to tell you now, I have an antidote for anxiety, worry, and poor self-esteem. The sort of thing that keeps you saying, oh, that's just not for me. It'll never work. I'm not that type of person. It'll turn you into, that could be for me. I am that type of person, and I'm going to find out if I'm that type of person. Puts you in a space of optimism and willingness. It's called affirmations, and it's crazy powerful. It's one of the things that helped change everything for me. Affirmations. So every single day, to start tweaking, tricking, and rewiring my brain to think better about myself, I write out and sometimes speak out via voice daily affirmations. Every day. September 15th, September 14th, September 13th, 12th, 11th, 10th. I don't skip days with my affirmations, with my gratitude. I don't, but today we're going to focus on affirmations. So here are the affirmations I did this morning. I am good enough. I am smart enough. I am kind. I can transform. I am smart enough. Wrote it again. I can adapt. I am displaying. I don't know what I spelled there. I am reasonable. I am gentle. I am patient. I love myself. I trust in God. I am an athlete. I wrote, that's so funny. I was in a silly mood this morning. I wrote, I'm lean and mean. I'm a teenage mutant fighting machine. I was just being silly. But those are my affirmations for today. I was having some fun with that, clearly. And I love that sort of empowering language. And you know what's great about this? You don't even have to believe this about yourself, because I came in to this with such poor self-esteem that I didn't believe the things I was writing, but I believed that other people believed some of these things about me, and I believed that they believed it would work. So I just trusted. I borrowed their assurance. I borrowed their being role models. I borrowed their success. And I was like, if it worked for them, I don't know if it would work for me, but I'm willing to believe it's possible. And you know what starts happening when every single day you say out loud and you write out, I love you, I'm proud of you, I believe in myself, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, I'm open to suggestion, I am fit, I am healthy, I have good relationship with food, I'm responsible, I'm punctual, I can be transformed. You start to believe these things. It starts to affect the way you think. It really does. And so I often write out the things that don't come natural to me. I am punctual. I tend to be late, but I'm willing to start changing the way I think. And I'm willing to let go of that dangerous language that says stuff like, I'll always be someone who's late. No, F that. Not acceptable anymore. I'm someone who's on time. I'm not the type of person who can stick to a diet. No, yes, I am. I write it down all the time. I am disciplined. I am disciplined. And you know what happens when you start writing this stuff down every day, reading it every day, speaking it every day? You start living it. You start behaving it. You start owning it. It just happens. Now, I know a lot of you will not do this. A lot of you will hear this. It'll resonate with you somewhere, and you'll drift into what's comfortable, even if what's comfortable is hurting you. And I get that. But for those of you that I can break that wall, if I can break that wall to have you take a chance, please take a chance on daily affirmations, and please take note of when you're using dangerous language. When you're using language that is putting you in a corner for future development based on your history often. See, I always judge myself on my history. So of course I'm not someone who's financially responsible. I'll never be someone who's financially responsible, because look how irresponsible I've been. That is not a license to ruin your life. It is not a license for me anymore to just completely destroy my future. I get to decide who I am today, and it's a journey and it's a process, but I'm willing to take suggestion and start that journey. Don't care how many times the non-linear pattern of success and it is. I don't care how many times I step back. I will keep trekking forward. I will pray for willingness and humility to take suggestion wholeheartedly and not decide things for myself that I don't truly know. Ow, this fires me up. I just want you to know that I care so much, and I'm so thankful to the people that met me where I was and continue to meet me where I am in this journey of being sober and being an athlete and being a husband and learning how to run a business and taking care of myself and working on my depression and my anxiety and nurturing my low self-esteem. I'm so thankful for the people that didn't run away from my lack of action, because I've had people nudging me, just nudging me for years, a number of ways, and almost all of them are still there. And when it clicks, it clicks. Like I said, for me, kind of had to get my shit kicked in a fair bit for it to click, but that doesn't have to be your story. And maybe it was, or it is. Maybe you're in pain right now. It does not have to be this way forever. I promise. One day, 1 hour, 1 minute at a time, you can become someone completely different. You just have to be willing to let go of dangerous language and open to the possibility that what you think you know is wrong and what you might learn could change everything. And if it doesn't, let's say you do this for a couple months and it just doesn't help at all, which it will, you can always go back to doing what you're already doing, right? If you are still here in the video, please put in the comments below, willing. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Adios, muchachas and brochachos.